Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. A little birdie told me that you want to start your own treat making company and you have absolutely no idea where to start, but guess what? I'm your girl and I have all of the answers to your questions. If you guys would like to see what I recommend as a beginner cake pop treat maker, then please keep on watching. And no, I am not the star of the show. You know what the star of the show is? This thing right here. It is very expensive. It is definitely an investment, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I bought this mixer 12 years ago and it looks still brand new. It makes everything so much easier. I am able to make my dough, I'm able to bake my cakes and do everything that I need to because of this guy. So if you have it within your budget, go ahead, sign the check, swipe the credit card, do whatever you gotta do, but this is definitely something that I highly recommend. All right, you guys, first things first, we are gonna figure out what kind of shape that we're gonna do our cake pops or cake skulls in. I honestly prefer the mold method, but there are different methods as well. You can use the cutters or different other shapes of molds. Personally, for my site, I like to offer two different types of shapes. I offer the molded cake skulls, and these are very large. And I also offer a dish shape, which is what I call our lolly cakes to kind of differentiate it a little bit. If you want to do things the old school way and manually roll your balls and do the old cake pop ball way, girl, you do you. I personally don't like to do it. I want to make things a little simpler and not as complicated. So as far as molds, these molds are actually from Amazon. I will link everything down below to make it super easy for you to shop. You have two ways that you can use your molds. You could take the dough, pack it in, freeze it, thaw it out a little bit and then dip it, or you can do everything in the mold, which is how I prefer to make my cake skulls. Also with your cake skulls, you can, if you'd like, create a little slit here, and that actually helps with getting the pops out later if you'd like to do so. But personally, I've been in this business for the last about 8 months now, and I actually do not prefer the slit method. I prefer to keep it without being cut. Also, these molds come in a pack of 4. I cut them so that I could work one by one, which makes it super easy. As far as cutters, there are lots of brands, lots of knockoffs going around, but I like to suggest these two brands. These are my favorite. You have our classic Daisy Makes, which come with the little resting, I don't know what you would call this, the stand, the holder for your pops, and the cutter. You can opt not to get the little holder if you'd like and just get the cutters. That's up to you. I personally like both. I think it's an investment. You buy it one time, you don't have to buy it again. Another brand that I recently discovered is called Tiny Bites, and they offer super cute character designs as well as fondant cutouts. As you can see here, we have a cute little Pikachu. You can use this portion to cut out your cake pops, and then this top portion with the stamper, you can use it on your fondant and it lays perfectly on top, seamless. And then if you'd like, you can fill in the eyes with poppy paint or an edible marker. So that's completely up to you. Also within the category of molds, I wanted to briefly touch on these molds. They can be used for fondant as well as chocolate. You don't need to start off with a whole bunch of these. You kind of just go with the flow and order as you need. You can start with a simple frame mold if you'd like, or just like a cute little shape. For instance, I got these just for my Christmas cake pops. And the best thing about these, they don't go bad. Simply put them away until next holiday season. Another reason why I also like to opt for the silicone molds is simply because they are really easy to clean. The chocolate just pops off really easily and it's dishwasher safe. And that's a win for me because after a long day of baking and treat making, you don't want to do the dishes, trust me. It gets old really fast. So simply rinse the chocolate off and throw them in your dishwasher and they are good as new. Okay guys, so part 3, I'm going to talk about the sticks that I like to use. I get all of my popsicle and lollipop sticks from Hobby Lobby. They are the absolute best and they are the cheapest. The only bad thing is they're actually closed on Sundays. So if you have an order that's due on a Sunday, please make sure you go ahead of time and load up on all of your supplies needs. Aside from that, they have in a huge variety of different types of sticks that you can get. They offer acrylic ones. I think these are absolutely gorgeous. I do offer these on my site for my clients for an upcharge. You don't have to do that. I simply do because these do cost a little bit more than the classic popsicle sticks. As far as what I call my lolly cakes, which are the disc-shaped cake pops, they do have classic sticks and 2 different sizes, and then they offer really pretty ones like these acrylic ones as well. You will see which ones that you prefer the most, and when you find them, load up on them and fill your supply closet. All right, so I have 2 options for keeping your counters nice and clean, but theoretically, you're probably gonna want both. Parchment paper I use a lot of the time when I want to store away the cake pops and treats for later, especially in the freezer. I line my plastic containers with paper, I put a little bit of parchment, and then I simply put the cake pop or cake skull right on top of the parchment paper, and it keeps everything from sticking. So a more eco-friendly option, instead of constantly getting a bunch of parchment paper and throwing it out, would be the silicone working mat that I have here. This is very easy to clean. It keeps your counters clean, and you can also throw this in the dishwasher. You don't also have to worry about constantly buying multiples of these. You really only ever need one. So I highly suggest the silicone sheet, but if you don't want to purchase one of these, you can buy parchment paper, and I like to buy this in bulk at a Costco or at BJ's. It's much cheaper that way. Now on for probably the biggest investment of your treat making journey, and that happens to be your candy coating or your chocolate. I have 3 different types here, and I'm gonna go from low all the way to high end, and I'm gonna give reasons why I like or dislike any of these. A lot of people like to start off their treat making journey with something called almond bark or just something like this. I got this from BJ's. I wanted to come on here and tell you that it's absolutely awful. But if you do want to try out making new designs, or maybe get in the habit of learning how to dip, and you're not necessarily selling these, or just they're for you or your friends, you can start with something like this. I personally don't like it. In the middle, I have this brand right here, and this is from Sweet Shop. I have this one in red right now for the holiday season, but I do use their classic ultra white coating, and this for the most part is gonna be in the middle for me. I don't love necessarily how it melts, but it does cover the cake pops very, very well, and the price point is really, really good. The only thing is when you do get this shipped, because you can't buy this in stores, you do wanna opt for your cold packing. Trust me, it makes a big difference when it comes to receiving your chocolate and it being in really good condition and not being half melted. For my more premium option, this is what I prefer to use, but again, this is very expensive. This is also the best tasting chocolate, hands down. They offer a smaller bag of this in your local grocery stores, such as Publix, Target, Walmart, etc. If you go through the baking aisle where they have like the chocolate chips and whatnot, they do have small bags of these, so you can test it out in smaller doses to see if you like this one or not. It's absolutely delicious. We use this for a lot of things in my house. I even make my own original like white chocolate mocha sauce for my coffee. It's good, it's great. It's a little sheer, but a lot of the times I do dye my chocolate, so it doesn't really matter. I, in my opinion, will always choose flavor over everything. And this is gonna be my ride or die no matter what. For our next category, now that we've already talked about chocolate, now you wanna decorate your cake pops and cake skulls, and that's gonna be with sprinkles. Keep it pretty simple, self-explanatory. You can get sprinkles from anywhere, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, even Walmart sells sprinkles. You can even go on Amazon. These are actually my favorite sprinkles from Amazon. They include a nice little pen where you can grab the sprinkles and then you can add them one by one. Once you've mastered your basic drizzle and sprinkle, we're gonna talk about something that you definitely wanna add on later on down the road, and that will be edible images or miracle transfer sheets. I'm gonna do a completely whole separate video on this, but this is literally gonna change your business. You definitely wanna add this. And sorry, I have my little one with me because I'm what you call a mompreneur, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do when you have your little ones, and that's what we're doing right now. Okay, thank you. She's showing you more silicone molds that we have. So this brand right here is Paper to Eat. They're out of South Florida, and I actually do have a great code for you guys. I will link it down below. I don't want to ramble on. Again, like I said, I'm gonna be doing a separate video on this more later. I don't need that right now. She wants to show you my Oreo molds. I also get this from Amazon. My second to last category is gonna be packaging. I wanna keep this super short and sweet. I get all of my packaging from either Amazon, Walmart, or mostly Hobby Lobby. They are the most cost effective. What is that? Okay. Thank you. We don't need those either right now. These are the little baggies and the little, what do I call these? Twist ties that I buy for my lolly cakes, which are basically cake pops, but in a dish shape. I cut these in half and they fit a lot better. These are what, a 50 count. Once I cut them in half, you do the math. Now you have enough for 100 little lolly cakes or cake pops. These are my favorite basic boxes that I get for my cake pops. You can opt for something a little bit more grand like these. These are a lot nicer. You can offer these for a premium price if you'd like. I offer these at a premium price simply because it gives it a much more luxe feel, and it's gonna be a little bit more complicated for me to make sure that all of the backs of my lolly cakes or cake pops are completely flat and decorated, because these boxes show everything. Now, I will go into another video explaining more package detailing where I talk about labels and whatnot, but this is where I think you can start, and it's a great price point as well. Lastly, you want to figure out how you're going to get paid, and I think the easiest way to get started would be Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle. You can create a little QR code that you can bring with you if you're out at pop-ups and whatnot, and people can simply scan it and pay you directly from there. Later on down the line, if you'd like to, you can get an app. You can use Squarespace, you can use Shopify. I personally use Bakesy. I think it is super easy and cost-effective without eating too much into your budget. You've created a name, you've started baking, you figured out your decorating and all of that other stuff. You have your basic supplies. Now it's time to get yourself out there. And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes social media isn't always your friend. You wanna start with the best thing that you have, your biggest asset, and that's gonna be the people closest to you, your friends and family. They're gonna be the ones spending the money and making sure they support your business, getting the word out there, offering it to everybody, their bosses, their friends, their neighbors. Who cares? It doesn't matter. That's exactly how I started. Everything started spreading like wildfire, and I am so grateful for all of my loved ones and everybody that has shared my business. Because of them, I am where I am today. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. I hope you found this video super helpful, or maybe you learned something that you can maybe use to your pre-existing treat making business. Thank you again so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.